My name's Anita, and I'm your Luminate artist that is going to take you through this session. The gift of a poem. So, what will you need for this session? So what you need for this session is some paper, like this, a pencil. It's good to have a rubber if you can get a rubber on top of it, but a pencil. Or a pen, will do just as well. And optional is a pair of scissors. You can also use a PC, a tablet or a phone to do some creating of writing. Please don't worry about spelling, grammar, or worrying about aspects of poem. This is just for fun, and I want you to have some fun with it. We're going to go through lots of different bits. Also, please do remember that you can pause and stop the video anytime that you need, whether you need to go and get yourself a cup of tea or fetch something or answer a phone call, whatever you need to do. Feel free that you can stop and come back and carry on there. It should be good. So, let's get started. So, why the gift of a poem? My mother taught me poetry when I was 11, and she would sit at the kitchen table. She was from Dundee, and she'd sit at the kitchen table and she would recite, because I'm severely dyslexic and ADHD, and so she would tell me what the words of the line were, and then I would recite the line for her. And then that's the way that I learned to memorise poems, and I really got into poetry when I was 10. It was through my mother and my teacher they were working together because of my severe dyslexia. So time goes on, and now my daughter takes my poems that I've written and she goes out and she performs my poems. So if you can see just in that, and the sad thing being that my daughter actually never met my mother. So although the actual the line is broken in a sense, you know, she still maintains that thing. I received it from my mother. I have passed on that skill or that love to my daughter. So it's a generational thing, and it's a very personal thing, a very connected thing. And this is why I thought it would be lovely for you to gift a poem to someone else, to a family member that you're missing at the moment, or somebody who's been really great to you, or been really kind. The wonderful thing about poems is they don't have to be long, and actually we all come to it naturally. It's something natural. Your challenge. So what's the challenge? So I'm going to challenge you to create a poem. Don't worry, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I would really like you to have a go. So where do you start? Yeah, so we're going to start with form. So there's lots of different kinds of forms of poetry, lots of different names. So I'm going to just take you through some of the really simple things. This is just to really give you shape and understanding of shape and structure. There's also free verse that has no structure, so you can just do what you like. But I think it's really helpful if you've never done poetry before to kind of start off in just think about form, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we go. So this is called an acrostic poem. Can you see that? An acrostic poem. Yeah. So if you can see, now I have used paper, birds. Yeah, that's so what you do is you get a word or a series of words. I've done a series of words here. Yeah. There you go. A series of words. And and then as you can see what I've done here, you can see it. I have done People and places ever here ripened memories, bringing in rich harbours of dreams and sleep. So I was just playing around with paper birds. That's a session, by the way, by Chris in one of our other things. She makes these lovely little paper birds. Do go check it out. But anyway, so this is called an acrostic poem. So you could write anything here. You could write somebody's name. You could write a place, you know, and it's best to do it in caps. Yeah, so nice in caps. And then you just think of one word or a line, and it just has to fit. Your line has to start with the word, and then you just carry on. As you can see, you just carry on, carry on. So that's a really, really simple way of doing it. Now, the next really simple form is a haiku. Now, I had a haiku somewhere. I just had it 2 seconds ago. What did I do with it? So, here's my haikus. So, can you see them? I'm just going to show you them there. Okay, now these are all done by Bushy, but if you can see them, yeah, they're very short. They're 3 lines. And what those 3 lines normally are, they're broken up into syllables. So we'll talk about syllables further down in this session, okay? We'll do a little bit of an exercise on syllables. But syllables are really important to think about because syllables are the rhythm of the words that you're creating, yeah? So, you know, because they kind of cut the word up into bits. And that is where rhythm is. That's the rhythm of the word. So you're placing the rhythm of the words within the poetry. But I don't want you to overthink this. It's fairly easy. But haiku is a really lovely form. It's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. It's normally about a moment in time. It has, and it's about, normally it's about an element or nature of some sort. It's very nature-esque. Yeah, so it, you know, often the form of nature is within the poem. Is a big thing in that. And here, as you can see, we've got wood, we've got water, and we've got earth. So those are 3 different poems and different syllables. Now you can go and look up. There's lots of haiku books. I have a little haiku book here. See, there's a haiku book. Lots of haiku. This is where that came from. And it's a really simple way of doing it. So house cleaning day, hanging a shelf at his home, a carpenter. So it hasn't mentioned wood in here, but the element is wood because he is a carpenter creating a shelf. Okay, so that's a form you could have a go at. Another poem. Oh, it's upside down. And this one is Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright. And I just want you to notice right here the tiger. He's not spelt it the conventional way, okay? This is a William Blake poem. You may know it very well. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. Which immortal hand or eye dare frame this fearful symmetry? Now, I'm probably just going to cut to the poem because I'm going to talk about the poem. So you're probably just going to see about the poem anyway. So I want you to look at the first. I want you to look at the first line. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. Okay. So he repeats, tiger, tiger, and I don't know if you look at the poem, you'll also see another repeat, and the next repeat is the whole verse, first verse to the end verse. Sometimes when you're creating a poem, getting to the end is really hard. Yeah, the end is the harder bit. Yeah, you know, sometimes you've got all your thoughts and you're shaping the poem, like it's a bit like a sculpture. You shape the poem, but the end bit's always a bit, sometimes feels unresolved or it's not working. So a little trick, and I think I might have learnt this from Blake, is to just repeat the beginning at the end, and it kind of gives it a kind of beginning to end thing. So you know, so he says, did he who make the lamb make thee? He goes, question mark, tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, you know. So I'm going to read this to you and I'll take you through it. Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire, and what hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And what thy heart began to, and when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dreaded grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? William Blake. You can look this poem up on the tube. It's a very well known poem by Blake. It's probably one of his most famous poems. But I just thought it had some little features that I just want you to keep in mind when you're writing your poems, right? So the first one being the repeats, yeah? In general, you don't want to repeat too often. Now the next two words, so it's tiger, tiger, burning bright, burning bright. So that's alliteration, yeah. So alliteration basically is, you know, the same letter starts. So as she sells seashells on the seashore, alliteration. Yeah. So alliteration is one of the oldest forms of creating rhythm in poetry that there is. Okay. And alliteration helps create rhythm. And sometimes when you're a little bit stuck, alliteration is a good thing to think about. So if you get stuck, I don't know, think about a little alliteration. It might help, yeah? The other thing that you will see here is rhyming. So bright and night, skies and eyes, art and heart, chain and brain, grasp and clasp. These are all rhyming at the ends of here. Now rhyming is great, and then if you can rhyme, go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong, but couplets, these are couplets. Yeah, these are couplets in here. So it's got couplets in here. But just a word of warning with rhyming. It's great stuff to use, and I like internal rhymes mostly because they're not so obvious. So eternal rhymes are words that rhyme within, not at the end of the line. It's within, it's rhyming something maybe with the line above or the line below. It's not necessarily at the end of the line. Now the end of the line is the breath also, right? So tiger, tiger, burning bright, breath. In the forest of the night, breath, yeah? So I think it's really important to think of where you're placing your breath, because poetry isn't prose, yeah? It is, you know, you really have to think of where the breath is, and that breaks the line and it's onto the next line. So, tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night. Okay, these rhymes kind of signify the end of the line, but it doesn't have to be that. Could you just think that's a natural breath? You'll just find it. And this is another thing that I want to chat about, is I don't want you just to say it inside your head. Yeah, you really have to say it out loud. Say the words in your mouth. And so I'd also really like to talk about concrete poems. Now, concrete poetry is kind of looking at poetry in a different way to rhymes and rhythms and, you know, and alliteration and all that stuff. So it's not really about the necessary, well, it is about the substance, but it's the resonance of the words together and how they're placed on a page. I think it's much more sculptural in a sense, because it's so much to do with resonance and stuff. So just bear with me. So often concrete can, again, have fun with it. Yeah, concrete poems, lots of fun. And it doesn't have to be, you know, we're not geniuses. We're not all turning into poets. I wouldn't recommend that anyway. Is my joke. So just think of it as, you know, as wide as you possibly could want to make it. It's just an idea that you develop and you develop and develop. So I'm just going to show you this one because I quite like it. So here's a concrete poem. I'm not going to get too close to it, but as you can see it, here's a concrete poem and it's in the shape of a bird, okay? And everything in this poem is always all about flight and the flight of the bird, yeah. But as you can see, the concrete poem actually creates the shape of a bird, yeah. So, you know, that is form in a sense, because if the words don't fit or etc. And obviously they have manipulated that on the page to make it look like a bird, yeah? See that? Wonderful. So now we've looked at different kinds of poems, different kinds of forms of poems, from haiku to acrostic to concrete, and also just the standard stanzas, you know, 4 stanzas, 4 lines, rhyming poetry, tiger, tiger. So those are things. So putting all that aside, don't worry about that stuff. That's just as examples to see where you can get to. How do you get started? Where do we start? How do we start? Okay. So I like to start by not thinking. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper over here that I folded earlier, like this. Yeah. So I think a nice thing to do is kind of, you know, do this. So I have a page and it's got 2 lines on it now. Now, the first thing to do, I think it's, you know, it's really hard, I think, to just think up ideas out of midair with no warm-up at all, yes? I think you do have to warm up. That's what practice is, warming up and things. And yeah, poems occasionally come to me like that, but that's a rarer thing. It's not every day. I really work at it, yeah? So the thing to do is just get started. Think of a word, what resonates with you at the moment. For instance, just because it's here, I've got a glass of water, yeah? A glass of water. So you could have a glass of water and take a sip. And you could think, so what am I feeling with this glass of water? So I'm going to write a poem about a glass of water. But I'm not going to write the poem. All I'm going to do is list. So these are lists, right? So thinking of water, I'm going to list. So what was it? It was wet, cold, clear, yeah, metallic, smooth, refreshing. So what I would do is I would just list the words. Just keep listing them till you can't think of any more words that relate to the thing that you're thinking about. It doesn't have to be a glass of water. It could be a person, yeah. It could be a scene, a season. It can be anything, yeah. So just list words. I don't want you to think. Often it's quite good if you give yourself a time limit. So you give yourself 2 minutes, yeah, and then you go for it. So in that vein, let's do it now. So get your pen, your piece of paper. There you go. Think of something you want to write about. Just grab an object near you. Doesn't really matter. A pair of scissors. Something could be. Glasses. What's it like to have glasses? A book. Yeah. So anything you like. And then all you're going to do is you're going to write a list of words. I like to do it in a time frame because I think it kind of concentrates your mind if you're trying to do it and you're not doing it so you're not stuck forever. So what I would do is I would just time it and, you know, just see how many words you can get in 5 minutes. Have a go. Pause it now. Have a go. So have you got your words? Have you got a nice long list? of words that you can use. Oh, I had some. Ah, here you are. So you'd have a long list of words, right? So that's one. Then I would actually put that aside. I would just put that aside like that. So the next thing I'm going to suggest, oh, wrong paper, another blank sheet of paper. What I do here is I divide my page up into 6 like that. And I do sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. So these are basically the 5 senses. So I've got sight, sound, taste, touch, and see there, right. And I've got another little box in here that's other. Yeah, oh, other. Yeah, here it's on that side. And that is just if there's a word combination I want to try out, I can try it out on this box. So this is descriptive words. This is not just listing words here, like here. This is actually descriptive words. I would call this all gathering of the words. I like to gather the words before I start sometimes. It's a helpful way of doing it if they're not coming. So I often say to people, so if there was a lake in front of you, yeah, and it was a beautiful day, yeah, what would you be seeing? Would the water be glistening? So I go glistening, put glistening down. Glistening, we put glistening down. Sparkling, there's another one, sparkling. And you just list all the words that you can think of, descriptive words that you can think of in the sight of the lake or the thing that you're thinking of. Water, clear, it's clear, clean, yeah? Now, the next one is sound. What sound does water make? It tinkles, it burbles, it crackles. Don't worry if it's right or wrong, doesn't matter, just put it into the box. Eh? The taste, well, I said it was metallic, cool, soft, and then touch, wet, soft. Smell, oh, it doesn't really have a smell, does it? What does water smell like? I haven't a clue. So let's say nothing. Clean, maybe it smells clean. Safe, a safe smell. A clear smell, yeah. So now you would have all these descriptive words. Okay, got all these descriptive words. So you can play out a couple of them in here. So let's glistening clear. So I'm going to go for glistening clear. So glistening clear. So the water was glistening clear across the lake. Yeah. So see how lovely and descriptive that is already. And then you know, smooth and refreshing. You know, and then. So that's what you can do. Now, so another method of gathering words is other people's poems. So I'm just going to, here we go, here it is. So, and this is where the scissors come in. Because there's another thing that you can do with words, okay? And so what I would do, you might want to speed this up because it's going to take a little bit, right? I would then maybe cut up these words like this. So I don't have to write them again, eh? This way. You could tear them up. You don't have to cut them. You can tear them with your hands. They don't have to be cut. Yeah? Yeah. You can tear them like that. Yeah. So that's wet. And that's what you're doing. Or you can get somebody else's poems. So you could get Tiger Tiger. You could print it out. You could write it out. And then you could cut up all those words. Okay, so there's one. And like fridge magnets, you just spend the whole day. You can just cut up all your words that you've gathered. You can put them in a little pouch. You can keep them for another day. You can reuse them. You can add more words. It's just a great way of gathering words and playing around with form and things like that. Just a really nice way of doing it, really. So that's another way to gather words. So now we're going to get to the bit about creating our poem. So I actually just want to do a little exercise with you, because this exercise, it's a nice little exercise, but I think it's really good for helping you understand something, okay? So what I would like you to do, you can pause the video to do this, is I would like you to choose a consonant. So just to remind you, a consonant is anything that's not a vowel. So it's not A, E, I, O, U. Don't use those ones. But what you can use, and also word of warning, although we're just using consonants, try not to use X, Y, and Z, because they're kind of hard words in this exercise, and I'm doing you a favour. Don't use those ones, yeah? They're not so great. But for this one, choose a letter. Okay? So, you've chosen your consonant. Let's say mine is B. So the consonant I've gone for is B. I don't know, yours might be different. Don't know what yours is. So just put consonant. Now, what I want you to think about is I want you to think about creating a silly sentence. I call it a silly sentence because it is a silly sentence. So you're going to create a silly sentence around your consonant. So I'm going to do mine. Now, I don't want any more than 5 to 7 words. Yes, 5 to 7 words is all I want. So no less than 5, no more than 7. Silly sentence. And all words must start with your consonant. Feel free to pause. Are you back? So, mine was B. So I've gone big brown bear, break Billy Bunny's bread basket. Big brown bear breaks Billy Bunny's bread basket. Or basket. I think it's just basket. Okay. Now, what I ask you to do now is repeat it. Billy Brown's bear breaks, I'll put an S on that, breaks Billy Bunny's basket. Big brown bear breaks Billy Bunny's basket. Big brown bear breaks Billy Bunny's basket. Okay, so just repeat it a couple of times over. Just a bit of a tongue twister. That's good for you. It gets the mouth moving, gets the lips going. But once you've done that, so now what I want you to do is I want you to clap out the rhythm of the words. Now this is us going to the syllables of the words. So all these words have different syllables, and that's a bit like the haiku that we talked about before, yeah? So it's really important to understand the rhythm and the syllables of your words, yes? Because if you don't know where if you're missing out syllables of words, then you sometimes get the rhythm in poems a bit wrong, or not wrong, but they don't fit as well. So just think about that a little bit, yeah? So what you're going to do is have a go, pause. So I'm gonna do mine. I'm gonna clap out mine first, and then you can clap out yours. Big brown bear breaks Billy Bunny's basket. Big brown bear breaks Billy Bunny's basket. Okay? Did you hear the syllables? Billy, bunny, basket. Yeah? So those are the syllables of the words, yeah? So you have a go at yours. Have a pause. So how did you find that? Were you surprised? Did you think you got the rhythms of the words? It's a good thing to check. Again, it's about listening and speaking and seeing and hearing. So it's about all the senses working together, okay? It's really important that all the senses work together. So that's how we might create a poem. Is you could do the haiku idea. You could do lots of little haikus, yes? You can use, so what we've done is we've used haiku, concrete poem, and acrostic poems, and we looked at tiger, and we looked at alliteration, which is, this is another lesson in alliteration, and also we used rhythm and rhyme. So these are lots of little things that you can use to create your poem. Now, so how would you do that? How would you go about gifting someone a poem? Well, you could just write it out and hand them it. Yeah, it's simple as that. You could just write it out and hand them it when you next see them. Maybe a little while off, but you could do it that way. Or you could pin it to your window. What else could you do with it apart from that? Well, you could type it out and post it up on Instagram, or send it to a friend via email or text. Or you could do this. You could create these little tags, and you could have your little lines on them, and you could hang them up somewhere. These are just a little bit of card. See, card, and it's got a little hole in it and some ribbon, and it's a nice little thing to give to people. Or you could do this. You could create a book with your poem like this. See this? This is just 4 bits of paper, and in it, and it says poems down here. I just did this very, very quickly to demonstrate what you could do. And there's your haiku. I've done it in landscape here. There's the haiku that I showed you earlier. Yeah. And then there's the next page. See? And then the next page. Yeah. So another way to gift your poem is to record it. So if you don't want to do this, it's too much, you could record it. You could record it on a device, you could record it on your phone, and you could send it that way as a voice recording. Or you could send it to Luminate. We'd love to have your poems that you've created and been inspired to create. So I hope that was helpful. It was lovely to be here, to be asked to do this session, and thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.